April 16th, 2026. How can I trust that any of you exist? With the advent of AI, nonstop fake media generation, the never-ending revelations of the psychological warfare, and every conspiracy under the sun ending up to be true, when will we also be questioning reality and ourselves in relation to it? Even in the ordinary state of the world, we cannot trust wholeheartedly what we perceive. When I sleep and dream, I'm able to create a world just as real as this one. I can create people and places, hold conversations with them, even them holding thoughts and opinions different from my own. They can harm me, and I can still feel pain despite being all in my head. Have all kinds of experiences, even the experience of contradiction inside a dream, me telling myself that's not a dream at all, yet still being a dream. In fact, I'm pretty sure waking life is not real life, but instead a torpid, imaginative state limited by current awareness at this stage. It's clear to me that dreaming is our natural state and the physical world is just an illusion. The one, consciousness, alone and unlimited, rule the world of dreams, uninhibited by time and space. The worst part is you can't even prove to me you are real. This whole thing, including you, is just a part of my consciousness, a dream.
How can I trust that any of you exist? I don't even trust that I exist.
I honestly think that nothing at all exists because everything does. It's just one consciousness pretending to be many. There's no you, there's no me, there's only God fragmented across all creation playing hide and seek with itself.
How can I trust that any of you exist? Draw a checksum.
No one cares if you trust it or not, no one cares about you, you aren't the center, you aren't special. Fine, we don't exist. Then shut up and stop talking to the non-existent.
Listen, I'll give you the lowdown on what I know. Every being and entity is experiencing their own reality that overlaps with others within observable attention. The landscapes seen by your friends, family, strangers are all entirely different. There is no base reality other than what you are currently experiencing. Communication with others is the act of translating attention between worlds. Attention to what I have to say and attention to what you have to say. The praxis of the attentive bridge.
You've been psyoped. Get off 4chan.
None of you exist. You can only have a certain percentage of certainty that you exist. You're above 0.0001 get to exist somewhere as a fake and gay hallucination. There is no base reality other than what you are currently experiencing.
You have absolutely no way to prove that, and no reason to think that. That you're trapped in an inescapable bubble of subjectivity doesn't mean everyone is. And you would have no way to determine if it was just you or not.
You are not trapped, you dolt. That's the point of the bridges. Communication is all you need to enter another's world.
How do we know we aren't a butterfly dreaming of being human? Many people are saying.
Irrelevant to the fact that you have no way to determine if there is an objective reality or not. You can't make any claim about it. You cannot say it doesn't exist, only that you are ignorant.
The dripping water is
The mindset you are following is of inherited certainty.
You mean solipsism. I am simply stating the contrapositive. How can I trust that any of you exist? This entire rant is about the uncertainty. Well, it works both ways. You have no ability, evidence, or reason to ever say there is no objective reality. None.
I've witnessed the malleability of my own world with shared eyes. Others are part of your world as much as you are to theirs. Learn to read the signposts while you wade through whatever landscape you're experiencing. Have a good night.
The existence of psychics is proof there is no objective reality. You're just playing make-believe with yourselves in a play, and you're the deepest of the role players. Dream General. Had a funky dream today. One of those dreams where it feels like a parallel dimension. Things are the same but different. Going around and doing maintenance around the house. Someone is with me, unclear on if they're a family member, roommate, someone I hired to work around the house. Think about swimming in the pool. Go to it and lift the cover. It's filthy. Disappointed I can't go swimming. The other person with me looks down at it too. Suddenly, a flying saucer appears and is whipping around us. You seeing this too? Yeah. It goes over and beams him up. It flies some more. Beams me up. I reach out and touch it just with the tip of my finger, and in that moment all matter choreographically disappears and time stops. Excited to meet aliens. Suddenly, there's nothing. I am in a vast nothingness waiting. I become afraid of being stuck here forever. Suddenly a light appears. I race towards it. I'm in the ship now with the other who's with me. He has been here for a long time, it seems, rambling about how they want him to use HVAC to build an anti-gravity propulsion device. I help him, and we do it. Suddenly are beamed back down next to the pool. It feels like a metaphor. Pig-related is the closest I could find to the saucer.
That's all dreams, Enon.
When I was a kid, I had a dream that, as an adult, an investment of mine flourished and made me rich. I'd never felt that kind of freedom and excitement before. I was quite disappointed when I woke up, though. I haven't thought about it in a long time, but ever since then I've had the feeling that some kind of hidden fortune could be out there somewhere.
I woke up early today. Earlier than I was supposed to. So when trying to fall asleep, I ended up having a dream where I was driving with my father. The road kept turning to become unnatural, and the sun was going up. He was complaining about something. We drove into a town where the kids got in the way of our destination. But there were kids using the landscape and the town to their own desire. All toddlers, no adults. By the end, we had to get out of the car to move toddlers that had deformed bodies, the size of the palm of my hand, out of the way. I head-patted one with a cowboy hat that was mostly hat. Then I woke up early again and went back to sleep for 20 minutes.
I had one of those last night. In my dream, my mom was a manager/owner of a gas station or convenience store at the top of a large hill or small mountain. Very bizarre. So unlike her. We were reminiscing about my dad, who had apparently died in the dream world, but who's very much alive today. It was just so weird. My mom is old and practically disabled. It'd be impossible for her to run such a store. Not sure why my brain concocted that. What's weirder is, I have dreams that feel like they're part of a larger ongoing narrative. Not to hijack the thread here, but oftentimes I'll have a dream and it's like, oh, I'm back in this particular universe where XYZ happened. Like each dream is an episode in a different lifetime or universe. Seems like your dream was trying to tell you that UFOs are used for PSYOP purposes. The fact that it disappeared when you touched it is telling. Then it becomes reconstituted, but the aliens give you the nonsensical task of building an anti-gravity device out of an air conditioning unit. My dream. Be a kid again for some reason. In some kind of strange juvie mental hospital. With a bunch of others I don't recognize. Warden calls us up to take a test. Cop escorts us. Dude has dead, hollow eyes. Walks strangely. Shuffles. Shoves us around on our way there. Remember getting in a room with a metal table, the cop shoving my head down while another held my arm out. A loud drill. Screaming. Don't remember much else. Had 3 more dreams like this. Same place, same people, same weird cops, different tests. I think in one a kid tried to fight them and he got taken to a room. I'm pretty sure these dudes were Greys and they took the consciousness of mine and a few others to their metaphysical house of horrors.
Did they get you on that dot near the elbow?
Not sure, I don't even remember where they got me.
I have a DRAM. Drugs are designed to make you susceptible to demonic possession. Your government knows demons are real and doesn't tell you. If you would like to live a normal life, don't do drugs. I know what I'm talking about, especially DMT, mushrooms, etc.
Also, Christianity is probably true. Maybe try being a Christian.
Drugs made me realize that Christianity and all other religions have a point. It also made me realize that the demons and angels are pretty much the same thing and we live in harmony. I'm trying to make this world a better place since I took LSD.
Drugs are bad because they make you share your body with at least one other spirit, the drug. And that can leave you open to more spirits, demons. Christianity is a 6th density hypergrift meant to persuade humans to willingly become a slave to higher dimensional demons. Demons stop attacking you when you invoke Christ because they work for him. The carrot and the stick to keep you in line.
Demons equal nobles, pharaohs, elites.
All animals do drugs. Also, I guarantee you drink caffeine, which is a drug. So, you want to try that again?
Yeah, I dumbly got converted when my infant of a Prague statue got possessed. In retrospect, it was clearly Jesus lying to me. I wonder if all religion is like this.
I see demons at night without drugs sometimes. They are physical beings. Can move your body and talk to you as I would in person. They shapeshift between strange forms and are overtly sexual. You encounter them in autoscopic reality where you are in your other body in your bed or elsewhere. and it is as lucid as the waking experience. Just sometimes you're a woman or a dude. P.S. Humans can shapeshift their subtle bodies and hallucinate their changed bodies, leading me to think they are just dead people. I've been a woman twice. First time I was dry humped by a laughing old bald dude. And second time I had my nephew's stomach protrude like there was something inside him, and he complained of his gallbladder. These were otoscopic hallucinations.
This is now a thread about goblins.
All mind-altering substances shift your state of perception and can facilitate certain kinds of thought and/or meditation, but they always have a trade-off. Dependency is where you run into problems, and if you convince yourself you need something to be productive or whatever, the spirit has its hooks in you. Always exercise self-control, if for no other reason than to strengthen your willpower muscles. I go through my fair share of Dionysian episodes, which I always conclude by taking an extended fast on whatever I was doing, typically boozing, to calm the energies down. You have to be able to live without something before you have the power to only choose to use it on your own terms. That's the distinction that will make or break you. You need to balance chaos with an equal amount of order, or it will consume you. Blah, 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 blah. Demons aren't scary. Some are. Most aren't. They all have their own drives and desires, like any other. Ketamine forces a soul disconnect and open your body for a different soul, though. Avoid. I've watched so many friends vanish and get replaced. Other drugs are often fine. DMT, mushrooms, salvia, etc. Just trick and openness and state similar to things I experience without them. They don't seem to understand anything, though. Lost souls get confused, unlike those of us who wander through our own backyard. Christianity is a spiritual Ponzi scheme meant to feed Yahweh, a jealousy, envy, and narcissism demon. You willingly volunteer to be consumed. Avoid the death cult.
Drugs are completely spiffy and A-okay. Why? I can't say, but I'll do them every day anyway. Regardless of the cringe, I found drug use to be exceedingly beneficial in introducing structural anomalies into different modes of cognition that allow for awareness to be refined by giving it an expansive set of data points to reference and synthesize into novel perceptions. This isn't to say that most thoughts while in altered states are valid. Doing heroin definitely made me feel more certain, but I doubt it was because it popped the blood bubble that was the ego and enabled a more relaxed state of comprehension. But this was a mixture of erratic thoughts that developed into a borderline psychosis, such as seeing people as having an innate reptilian dimension to their personality, and that my roommate could influence certain angles to express his pterodactyl-like qualities on unsuspecting prey. Stuff like that is basically nonsense, though it's fascinating to see how the mind can dysregulate to the point of becoming more acutely aware of composite functions, such as seeing the stratification of the visual cortex in the processing of sensory phenomena, or creating infinite regressions in consciousness that warp your perspective as until you reach an exact termination point. All in all, they're mainly just fun, though I have been assaulted by satanic spider lizards in a pit of ethereal blood before. So that wasn't cool. Whatever, expand your mind, man. Though sobriety is an equally interesting vantage point that's best used to organize the data in a state of relative stability. Almost said clarity. Yeah, forget that. I know there was a radioactive signal discharge in my gut when it rumbled from a massive crack. I really don't care what physicists have to say about that. Has anyone else had any encounters with strange men who seem to know too much? Just like the strange man encounter in Red Dead Redemption.
There was one in 2012. Middle age. Came up to me one night I was walking the streets, knew all sorts of stuff about me, and started small talking. I knew for a fact we'd never met, because I've been a total recluse since 1998, and I also have a perfect memory, so this character possessing such intimate knowledge of me was impossible. Made another appearance a few years later, then a last one in 2021. Different places in the city each time, and always happening in July. Played along the first 2 times because, I don't know, too much liberal nice guy in me, but I knew what was up. Feigned ignorance the 3rd time, and that's when the appearances ceased forever. I've read similar stories from other occultists too. It was obviously the universe trying to screw with me as usual. Since then I made a new rule of just walking past everyone trying to get my attention no matter what.
Crazy that people don't do this already. This is just default behavior where I'm from.
Did it age at all, or was he always the same age? Did you ask him any questions? Did he seem malicious? Looked older, yeah. Hell no. No. Less strange men out of nowhere, more some neighbor or other person I know starts talking about things cryptically or passing along what seems to be coded hints then never elaborated on or He even acknowledges it in the future. These aren't wise spiritualists either. It was as if a higher consciousness temporarily descended into them and left as quickly as it came.
Yep, I've had a number of encounters with feminine entities, but male ones it's usually some normal dude who seems momentarily taken over. Same with many women, like the NPC got activated for a brief second.
Agent Smith walk-ins happen all the time to bring out the malignant side of people, from family members to gas station clerks. But the ones that seem to actually have some knowing are far less frequent. Most notable one was a few years ago, where after a psychic attack mob subsided, I think Kyle Odom, I just didn't lash out and it went away. A former coworker of my dad's randomly sent a couple leaks to articles with synchronistic resonance written by a woman who looked just like me. She seemed to know who I was and even basically replied to an email I sent via a follow-up article, but I never got unambiguous clarification. Could be a twin flame situation or a Matrix digital insert meant to mess with my head. I had to let that plot thread go and answered because it was clear any attempts to investigate were being thwarted, but it clued me into what I've suspected, that there are no actual female souls in this realm, and perhaps they're only on the outside looking in, and maybe I witnessed a brief time where the barrier dissolved. Or maybe I'm totally off on that too. I'm working with a pretty small data pool.
Should have asked him questions. It may have wanted to warn you of something.
A friend of a friend, who's often complained about due to typical flaky, irresponsible, and sometimes flat-out irritating behavior, had a few odd moments after I had already met him a few times and divulged a few ventings about my life. Because sometimes you just gotta blow off steam, but not getting down on it or dumping or anything, just expressing that life can be very cruel, can be very, very difficult for a few folks like myself, and most people won't understand. One day they get their vehicle stuck in my snowy driveway, and Gamer Guy, we'll call him, suddenly seems to have a little more to his character than I previously assumed. He inexplicably says, "You want to live in paradise, you gotta pay the piper, huh, Anon?" I was a little surprised that came out of nowhere, and I just responded, yeah, I guess. Shrug. We get to shoveling, suddenly Gamer Guy tells me to run, and I run while he chases, a few yards. My really messed up bad back suddenly stretched and popped, which ultimately helped me on my quest. Kinda hurt, but that's just how it is. Ultimately, it was a favor because it made things that much easier from that point. I pondered the event for a while, wondering what exactly is going on below his hood. More than meets the eye.
NPCs can serve as empty vessels that spirits can use to communicate with the mortal realms.
I had an encounter with a very strange woman I had a flirt with who thought our encounter was predestined or something. Like every detail about me I told her about confirmed her delusion that it was scripted. But she was mentally ill and decompensating, so I don't know. Real succubus vibes though.
Yes, at a coffee shop in 2019. I had been released from the psych ward a month prior after experiencing psychosis for the first time, and this older fellow wearing jewelry covered in what looked like Solomonic sigils walked up to me and said something along the lines of, "I deal with them too," and gave me advice on adjusting to my new way of life. My now ex finished with getting our order and asked me who he was. I told her that I didn't know. Haven't seen him around town since. I'd love to have a proper conversation with the guy.
What advice did he give?
Many, actually. I call them G-men. Cannot tell if they're cool or not. I'm starting to think that maybe the weird things are good, and not bad.
Yes.
Not really someone who seemed to know too much, but I'll post anyway. I had arrived to church a few hours, plus a day because I mixed up the dates, early after a long break from God. Drugs, prostitutes, etc. While hanging around waiting for it to open, I spotted a dead hedgehog, which I started praying for. As I was praying, it suddenly started to breathe, which sent me in a panicked state, trying to nurse it back to health. As I was doing so, a black man in his mid-30s wearing a leather jacket approached me. Something in me made me very skeptical of the man, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt, thinking he might be able to help. After explaining what had happened, I asked if he believed in God, which he replied yes. After some back and forth, he told me he was an Orthodox Christian. Right as he said that, a crucifix appeared around his neck, and all my suspicions instantly faded away. I'm also Orthodox. It was strange because Orthodoxy is very small in my country, and I had never seen the man before in any of the churches. Another strange thing is that when I asked if he had heard about an extremely well-known saint, he simply replied, "Him I do not know." He seemed very confused when I said I was headed to church. It was closed unbeknownst to me. He pointed up to a nearby mountain and asked if I was headed there. I got a very strange feeling like he was really asking if I wanted to go to heaven. I said no, and insisted that I was headed to church, which he replied, "Then to church you shall go." Then we agreed there was nothing more we could do for the hedgehog and that it was in God's hands. We hugged and parted ways. Right after touching him, it felt like lightning was shooting through my hands, and I temporarily lost major motor function in them. A few days later, I had a very demonically feeling psychosis and ended up in the psych ward. The hedgehog was dead when I went back some days later. The veil is thinning. It grows thinner and thinner with each passing day. Isn't this exciting? Let's discuss this concept.
I'm doing my part.
It's just AI got better at fooling people.
What are you doing?
It will be interesting to see what happens when it really collapses.
It might just.
As technology advances, people won't be able to pretend anymore that religion and a cult aren't just LARPs.
Helping.
He thinks it's not already happening. You're behind the curve, Enon.
As technology advances, people won't be able to pretend anymore that atheists are smart.
People will literally have heart attacks.
Medicine is the first occult LARP to fall. You didn't know medicine was an occult LARP, did you, Anon? Here, trust the science and take a tablet. Tablet has a name that makes your furniture start floating. Tablet only showed benefit in 5% of cases over control group. Statistically significant proof. Oh, I never said it would cure you.
Would you like to cry more?
Nothing is happening.
Can you help me?
Things are happening while you stay ignorant.
I already am. Yes, you are not lost. You're just still broadcasting on a frequency you have outgrown.
Where did you receive this information from? He just said he's doing his part. Can't you read?
I think some of us can feel it. Look into why the world's never felt the same after 2012 and CERN's experimentation. The plandemic, and especially AI recently, exacerbated this malaise of sorts within reality. Wonder if others were talking about how alive they felt whilst taking into account the Global Consciousness Project. I think it's due to many low-energy individuals living among us.
Open the pit. Unleash the animal.
You guys call it a thinning of the veil. I call it you guys rediscovering what already was known thousands of years ago. You guys are only hurting yourselves and your targets and victims twice over. You guys are just Venus spinning backwards and rediscovering the past as if it were a future event.
I have compelling evidence to believe it is best to remain as hope-pilled as possible. The battle being waged is spiritual in nature. There is coagula, community, family, love, connection to source, and there is solve, social media, AI, neoliberal low-trust end-stage civilizational collapse. The people in power are trying to surf Europa and Colombia as they fall into the Atlantic. But do not forget, we are the wave. Do not trust lightly, but you must trust.
True. The white pill is the best way to go.
Yeah, we are, but we were made this way for the current cycle for stupid, evil reasons. We'd be a lot less stupid if we weren't forced to forget, but that's not allowed. Blame those who crippled this entire species by design so they could rule a river of from a throne in the sewer. What's the smell like in the pit and tunnels you live in? I'm sure you could get along with ordinary humans if you didn't try to eat everyone who went looking. Or just be a bit more forthcoming. Neither of us understand the separate worlds we each inhabit, despite each side having strident words insulting and complaining about the other.
The smile emote stuff you guys do is tiresome, and dare I say grating at this point. Be seeing you real soon. Idiot.
Saturn and Neptune are dancing. Saturn is material reality, time, constraints. Neptune is the dissolving of boundaries. The boundaries of reality are dissolving.
Thank you, I am grateful.
Based.
I like my veil thick.
V.
Isn't a tablet something you write or read on?